All right, I'm Pat.
Did you start?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I'm Jeffrey.
What are you looking up there?
No, I'm typing in the things and like setting the soft timer
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff. No, it's fine. It's fine.
That's
It's fine.
right. Jeff is our secretary.
Don't call me that.
You're the note taker.
All right.
There you go.
I handle the minutes.
You do. You take the
Yeah.
minutes.
All right. Oh, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. I was just watching the worst football game I've seen all year. So, were you watching it?
I didn't even know it was on.
Oh yeah, it was.
How did it go?
Well, when I left, it was 40-6. Eagles.
Okay.
So, handing Mahomes his largest deficit ever. So, I don't know. They might have scored since then, but I don't think it matters. So,
Yeah. Is there a touchdown you can get that's worth 30 points?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were going to make one up, they'd make it up for him, but,
Certainly, yes.
So,
NFL seems to like him.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's like tonight, yeah. So, Jalen Hurts, I think, has taken that. He was just throwing bombs all night, man. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I think, yeah, the NFL might have a new favorite quarterback. We'll see.
Hey,
It's
it's
just, it's
Jalen
the
Hurts.
Eagles, man. I don't like the Eagles. So,
Nobody does.
well, I mean, yeah, nobody of sane body and sound mind. So,
You are talking about a city that has notoriously the worst fans in all of fandom.
where they have to grease the light poles, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they still do that anymore. If they just tase you, or they might just shoot you now. I don't know.
The plan has always been, professional sports have been gentrifying to that's been their method of modifying behaviors, is getting enough people into the games that can't afford to have a crime on their record. So you just keep pricing up the tickets until you.
Yeah, they showed the average price for a Super Bowl ticket now is like $5,800.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Riffraff can't afford that. So
No, that's true, and they don't even hold it in your city.
Right.
So they went down to New Orleans, and I hope they never go back to New Orleans. So,
Why?
I don't know, man. It's just the kitsch down there. It doesn't do it for me. So the voodoo stuff and the tricolors and like they were doing this like scary gate thing where the teams were coming out. I was just like, knock it off.
Well, that works if it's October, but I mean that's not.
Well, I mean, Fat Tuesday isn't for another month. So come on, man. So,
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I love the voodoo aesthetic from start to finish. I mean, I just think it's fantastic. But
I'm kind of over it. Yeah, I don't know,
I mean,
man. So
that's a weird thing to focus on. As far as aesthetics, it's a strange thing. It's a weird thing to celebrate. Because I mean, let me flip it around this way. If you had, remember, voodooism and Santeria, it's part of a religion, right?
I don't even know anything about Santeria.
Well, that's like where that all comes from, right? It's the voodoo is the practice. I believe Santeria is the genus, voodoo is the species, and
Okay.
so think about it this way: if you had a Super Bowl in Salt Lake City, and you had like Mormon shit
I don't want that either.
all over the place,
that's
and that
exactly
was
what it is. Yeah,
that would be weird because that's the thing.
Everybody's wearing the Handmaid's Tale stuff. No. Well, actually, no. They'd be wearing like Men in Black gear, or you have the white button-down shirt with the rolled-up sleeves and the black tie.
Yeah. And that's the weird thing. Or you'd have like it would be like all based on like the tabernacle and all that other like weird shit. And
That's
there's,
kind
like,
of
golden discs and things like that.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre.
Yeah, it's just like, can't it just be an American? I mean, like we got to voodoo the place up here. I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, there are some things that they do. I did look up earlier on in the week. I for a minute I forgot it was even Sunday. I did look up earlier in the week who the past performers were, and I think the NFL has forgotten that white people watch football.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I didn't even watch the the half game today. I went and made some spaghetti.
There you go. That's,
But
that's
to be
your
fair, I
point,
never
yeah.
do. So the last like halftime show that I think I've seen was actually Left Shark. It's got to be like
God damn,
12 years ago.
yeah, no shit.
So yeah, I think I saw. I don't remember if that was before or after Gaga flew in. Oh, from the ceiling.
You know what? I did see that one, and that one was fine because she actually performed.
Oh no, she's a great performer.
It was an actual performance. It was.
No, she's an excellent performer. So I've gotten used to it being well, and the same thing. Like, well, they did do 2 national anthems this year.
Right.
Well, no, and it was the Star Spangled Banner and America the Beautiful. So it wasn't that third one, the Black National.
The third one wasn't. It happened.
Did it today?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see it. So
yeah, it happened.
Did it happen like an hour before the game? Because they weren't back to back to back. I will tell you that.
I don't know. I saw.
Okay.
I saw. Where did I see that?
Was that on Twitter? Are you
That's
sure these
also-
people
yes,
don't understand
yes,
what
that's
the America
how-
the Beautiful is? That it's
that's how-
actually, yeah.
That's how I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
see,
that's how I saw it.
yeah. I was kind of watching for it. I didn't see it. So, yeah. Oh, well.
It's not a separate nation, Patrick. It has no place.
No, I understand that. Yeah. So, I mean, but, like my dad always said that we shouldn't have the Star Spangled Banner as our national anthem. It should be America the Beautiful. He always thought it was a way better song. So... And he did way more time in the military than I did.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that's not the only metric.
No, I get that. It's just like I've always kind of agreed with his argument on that one. So
I mean, by that argument,
because you can sing "America the Beautiful" about 1,000 different ways and it sounds good. If you get a little bit off on the Star Spangled Banner, it's like, what are you doing?
well, that's the thing is it actually has a couple of difficult, sections.
What, the Star Spangled Banner?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I
It
don't
does.
know anything about that stuff.
I mean, I will also say the based on the songs that I know that everyone knows the words of and have heard in every bar, no matter where you go to when they sing it. Proud to be an American should be our
I don't know, but okay. No, I would go. with America the
everyone
Beautiful.
knows the words.
I know like
Everyone
one phrase
sings
in it, where at least I know I'm free and da 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 da. I don't know the rest of it.
I'll proudly stand up next to you and defend her still today.
Okay, you know more of it than I do.
Tell me, it's
So they were singing that somewhere during a commercial break. They're singing "Sweet Caroline," which I cannot
I
stand.
was gonna say
I know.
that should be the national anthem.
No,
Everybody
please
knows
God,
it.
no. It has everything to do with rape.
And the Red Sox.
And the
Well,
Red
that's
Sox.
just-
I'm fine with the Red Sox part. The rape part, not so much. So,
I don't think. Look, I don't think that necessarily anything has to change. And I mean, if you want to, the Star Spangled Banner has like 6 additional verses.
the original one, the poem does. Yeah.
So if your argument is maybe we need to shift down and do like verse 2 for a while for the next 100 years, okay.
I don't even know verse 2. I know I've read the poem, but it's been a long time.
There is a part that is very much kick-ass take names.
There is a
And
part of that. Yeah.
It is. I was
It
very
talks about King
surprised.
George, too, which is kind of dumb. So,
It's fine. It's,
Yeah,
it's a little
whatever,
It's a
yeah.
little dated.
it's a little dated. Can't we get a Hitler song? So,
I don't know if we have one.
well, I know. I'm sure Daffy Duck had one cooked up somewhere.
I'd like to think so, but I haven't heard it. I believe that's something that I would have
I don't know.
distinctly remembered.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. So,
I imagine that any Daffy Duck songs involving Hitler would have numbers at the beginning where it would be like 2, 4, 6, 8s,
right, yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Right. But it's fine. I don't care. I think this will be given that the way things are sort of winding down, there's going to be a you can look at certain time periods and you can look, it's like, how do you know this movie was made in the 70s? You just say, well, everybody looks kind of greasy.
Right. Yeah, it's shut in this weird Panavision. Yeah.
And you say, what are the techniques? Well, filmmakers hold on people, and they hold on especially expressions for a long time.
Yeah.
There's this.
Go watch one Woody Allen film, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Everything looks almost, I don't want to say burnt out, but everything looks grimy. Everything looks, so there is that piece you say, well, how can you tell this is an 80s movie? It's like, well, this is the 80s, so they tried to make things look grimy, but weren't grimy.
No, yeah, things were not grimy.
No, so you have things where it's very like future speculative. In fact, you can usually tell a lot about whichever decade a movie is based on what their vision of the future is, because 70s future is like Logan's Run. Everybody is wearing like white suits.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's not a bad movie.
Yeah,
it's very dated though. Everybody is wearing like these same colored suits. If you get into like the 50s and 60s, you get a little bit of that flying saucer, look to things.
I mean, that's when the Jetsons, they were making that shit and stuff. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you get into the 80s, and it's like that pretend grittiness.
There's only a handful of movies that do that, though. So,
they're
like 80s movies were really focused on like the here and now. So you got a few examples where they're like, oh, okay, it's Blade Runner, got it.
Well, no,
it's RoboCop, got it.
Their other future, you got to remember, the other future in the 80s was the post-apocalypse.
Yeah, the post-apocalypse.
That counts as the future too, even though it goes back to sand.
Yeah, but again, you're only talking a handful of movies. So
but yeah, we're talking about future speculation. That's the look of it.
Well, it was, like in the 70s was like parts of it were like that, but then you had like Space Odyssey 2001, so which is
that's
clean.
late 60s.
Is it? I thought it was early 70s.
Isn't it?
I don't know. So I'm not going to stick my foot in my mouth with that one. So I thought it was mid 70s. I thought it came out like maybe like 2 years before Star Wars did. So
75?
Something like that. I don't know.
I guess it wouldn't surprise me.
I wasn't alive.
I mean,
I couldn't tell you. I have no reference points in terms of like, I was in third grade that year.
But even still, I got you there. I wasn't born. And I would argue that there's still a little bit of that last tiny bit of there's a 70s feel to it.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah. And then 90s speculative, science fiction starts to get to a little bit toward, I mean, the decade changes, but it starts to get to, iPod rounded corners and stuff like that. There's a little bit.
Well, you got like movies like The Fifth Element in there too, which are completely different. So the iPhone feature does not fit in that role.
I think Fifth Element, it feels like a script that should have been made in the 80s, but just didn't get.
Maybe it was. I don't know.
I doubt it, because I mean that's Luc Besson. I imagine. Well, I mean, I don't want to go there, but yeah. So there's a little bit to that, and I think in the same way that if you look at like Super Bowls and things like this here, there'll be a time period if you're watching through them, it's like, why do they have like two anthems? It's like, well, for this brief time period after like George Floyd was, this and this, we sort of did these things.
So they must have had three anthems that day.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever. It was in that weird part of the pregame show too, where they're doing it, but then the kickoff's not immediately after that. So then it's back to Tom Brady and Barr, and
oh, did he do the game today?
He did the game today, so he's not bad. He's got a squeaky voice though. So,
I never found him to be a compelling speaker. I found him to be a
he's
great
really good at like saying, okay, this is what this guy's doing. So
right.
But there were a couple times he's getting a little excited. It's like, dude, you need to use that spray.
never necessarily agreed with his trip to the booth, and that's not to say that he's necessarily bad from what I've seen. It's just I don't think he has a great voice. I've never thought he has a great voice. I don't think.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way about like some of the other guys, like Aikman and Romo. Romo's actually one of my favorites now. So
I never had a problem with Romo. I've always.
I didn't think he had kind of earned it. So like it's like, so you get a guy who's always a network dude. So
Yeah.
okay, fine, that's fine. All right, so they're the guys who own the thing. So sure, so you get a network guy.
You're supposed to. You have a play-by-play and you have color.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And your color guy is supposed to usually be the ex-talent.
Right, but I mean, Romo is like one of those guys who's like, you're no John Madden, dude. So,
No.
But I mean, these jobs don't come up that often. So, I mean, Tom Brady getting it kind of makes sense. So,
Sort of an honorary position.
I'm sure they pay the fuck out of him. So,
Yeah, it was another...
honorarium with lots of cashola, sure.
My understanding, the offer was as soon as you're done playing, $100 million extra dollars.
Yeah, extra dollars.
But that being said, so you go back to Aikman. Aikman is not. He's not a fast talker. There's something. He has a very. He's from the South.
Yeah, he's got a drawl.
He has a drawl. It's charming after a while, unless you hate that kind of voice, and that's fine.
See, and the only reason I think he got that job was because he actually retired before Brett Favre could. So, because otherwise that guy would have been a shoo-in. So,
yeah, but Brett Favre was going to play for another 15 years.
Yeah, I know exactly.
So,
yeah. So, well, maybe not that many.
Dude, Brett Favre played for a long time.
He did play for a long time. Yeah. So, I don't know how many years it was though. But and then like some of the other guys that come up, year after year, like the guys on Fox always kind of made sense to me. So before like they got rid of Shannon Sharp, so
yeah, Shannon Sharp
for multiple reasons. So.
I obviously don't have a problem with Shannon Sharp per se, but he's a little bit excitable. He's
very excitable.
He's not unintelligible like Michael Irvin.
Oh right, yeah.
Because when he gets excited, you cannot Dallas Cowboys. He's the worst. But I mean, this is the thing: you don't have to necessarily be the greatest quarterbacks or greatest players to be provide good commentary. Like Ron Jaworski is a perfect example of he was not
Chris
a great.
Collinsworth same way.
Chris Collinsworth was a great receiver.
Yeah, I know, but he was a receiver.
But he was a very good receiver for a long time.
Is he better than Jerry Rice?
No, but I've never seen Jerry Rice poke his head up into the.
I haven't either. So yeah, but
what I'm saying is like Jaworski was not a great quarterback, but he is a brilliant person on analytics. So
yeah, well, he's been doing that way longer than he ever quarterback now.
Yeah,
way longer. So, but like Terry Bradshaw was a legend. So
and he wasn't the greatest quarterback, but he did win 4 Super Bowls. But
yeah, well, yeah.
but that being said, there's a lot of team that helped him out, especially on the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
What's the term for that? He's like a workman. No, he's a journeyman.
A journeyman. That's like a novice.
Not a journeyman, but a yeoman.
There you go.
Yeah. Good.
That's a guy who just works hard.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Because his passes were ugly.
I've never ever seen a single play of his. So yeah, I didn't ever watch those old like inside the NFLs, Super Bowl II. You want to watch it again? It's like, no, I'm good.
All right, fair enough.
I'm good.
Right, so
my mom loved him though. So yeah, she was a big. She's got a soft spot for the Steelers for some reason. So
hey, mom's from Michigan, right?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's weird. You
have to jump over like an entire state of Ohio in order to even get close. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Until you get to East Ohio, where it's 50-50.
Right, yeah. We're talking West Ohio here, man.
Very West Ohio. Yeah, East Michigan.
East
Well,
Michigan.
Southeast Michigan.
Southeast
right?
Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the annex.
Right.
It's the Michigan Panhandle.
Right.
Yeah, so no more football for a while. Although I was seeing like they had an ad out. They got a UFC, whatever, not UFC, but like UFL, like league starting up. That's in like March,
Oh,
and it's like great. I don't care. So because now you're starting to poke into baseball. So
well, you know, ninth time's the charm. I guess.
nine times the charm. Yeah, and they were trying to push flag football today too.
Oh, fuck you.
I know. Yeah. It's like, get off that, man. And then the other thing was, there was one more thing that I saw that was, what the hell was it? Yeah, flag football.
Fun to play, not fun to watch.
I wouldn't watch it. No, it's way fun to play, especially if you don't have any
That's
gear.
what I said. Yeah.
So, yeah. I would not pay somebody to watch just like, oh, you kind of tackled that guy, so, yeah.
Well, the question is would you waste 3.5 hours of your life watching a goddamn flag
No,
football game?
no.
Yeah.
No. Especially now that baseball games are only like 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm good. There's a lot more of those too.
Now maybe all right. So if flag football was present, here's one of the problems: is sometimes leagues don't understand the appeal of what they're doing. So let me put it to you this way, right? So a lot of times these leagues sort of shoot above their station, right?
Uh-huh.
So they take a flag football league and they try to make it look like they try to present it like the pros.
No,
But you don't.
Yeah.
My argument is that you shouldn't do that. You
Yeah.
should present this as not a ghetto thing, but put it where it is. So, understand that you're going to intersperse this with local color, where you're going to be like, come on down to Brass Tack Bob's,
right?
like spaghetti sandwiches, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Something where it has like this sort of second class feel, because you know what it is. You're not going to spend a ton on this.
Yeah,
You let these characters build from within this, but you're not going to try and make it happen via artificial means.
they're gonna try and evolve it into a women's sport. Is what they're gonna do. So it'll be short skirts and crop tops real fast.
Bro,
So-
they already have a lingerie football league that's going nowhere.
Okay, maybe that's a step too far then, bro. So maybe you
suppose.
got to dial it back a little bit. So I have no idea.
Well, that being said, the quality of it was a joke at the beginning, but then the chicks you look at it was like they're actually like ripped. You're like, wow.
Yeah, I
so,
know.
Okay, all right.
Wrench your head off. Yeah, I know.
Well,
So, there's worse ways to go. So,
fair enough.
yeah. So, yeah, no, they were. I think I saw one commercial about that, but it was like high school level kind of stuff. Commercials weren't terrible this year. They weren't funny,
I don't know.
but they weren't like pissing me off. I gotta go, like take a piss now. So,
I don't know anything stand out. I didn't see anything. So.
not really. So,
Very
yeah,
cool.
they had the celebrities are back to endorsing products rather than pushing an agenda. So, which was nice. So,
Alright.
I'll take that. Yeah. So Harrison Ford, rather than wagging his finger at me, told me to go buy a Jeep. All right.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Alright.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's all right. So, yeah, the beer commercials were dumb. But not like, we're all coming together kind of like thing.
Right.
It was like back to
Right.
like, oh, okay. So we're gonna take old celebrities and put them in funny situations. Got it. So cool.
Oh, they reanimated corpses or what?
I did see a reanimated corpse of Willem Dafoe today. So
He's still alive.
kind of. So
No, he's still alive and acting.
yeah. He's a little melty, dude. So
He was melting in his prime.
that's not a good place to start from. Then.
Would you deny? Would you pretend that at any point, would you say that Willem Dafoe was handsome?
No, man. So yeah,
I could argue
he's got those weird Simpsons teeth that all have gaps between
he
them.
most certainly does, and I
Like
think,
all of them.
yeah, much like a baby that's named Gary. This kid was born with, like, you have a baby that's born with stress lines on the side of his nose. He's always had a bizarre. I don't want to say bizarre. I could see someone saying, you know, when you just smile and don't show your teeth,
He's
and
fine.
just you're a normal looking guy. But there's a reason that you're constantly playing goblin like characters and like laughing at shit that's not funny.
How old he is.
Yeah.
I wonder how old he is.
I don't know.
I'm gonna guess he's in his 70s.
That would be
Yeah.
Yeah, the dude was just in Nosferatu. He's still kicking
Yeah,
and,
he's still kicking. So,
he acts. So
yeah, no, I'm okay. So he just looked old. So
I think he is old, but
he might be, very well be. Yeah.
I'm talking about
Harrison
actual.
Ford looks fucking ancient. So
He's in his 80s, right?
it's gotta be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
it's
no,
gotta be.
When you said, you know, corpses, I thought you were talking about digging up like dead celebrities.
No, they
And-
didn't have any of that.
Okay.
Disney did have like an apology commercial kind of thing. It wasn't really an apology commercial. It was like, aren't we so great because we have these properties? What would the world be like
What?
if we didn't have Star Wars? So,
You're kidding me.
no, they had one that you'll have to go look. Yeah, I'm sure it'll make it around on Twitter's. So
Oh, boy.
yeah, it was a short little spot. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, what if the world had no Star Wars? I'd be like, I'd be happy. I'd be much happier because then, you know, if it had never existed, you couldn't have taken it away from me.
That's absolutely true. And within that same capacity, if it never existed, I could actually be delighted if it came out again.
Exactly. Yeah, it'd be a whole new world. So, anyway, they had a little spot on there. That was the one that kind of was like, yeah. But the rest of them seemed pretty harmless. I sat there and pretty much watched the game. So
Just tame stuff. You know, just
tame stuff. Yeah,
eat
yeah.
Doritos. I'd
Eat
imagine.
yeah, there were Doritos commercials
Yeah.
and beer commercials and car commercials. We got a Clydesdale commercial again. So there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys have
Some
really
things never
backpedaled
change.
off that stance.
Yeah, that was They're we don't talk about that anymore. In fact, we don't even really advertise Bud Light. We just go advertise Budweiser. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And just hope that there's sort of a knock-on effect of.
I don't think it really stopped that many people from drinking it long term. So, you know.
Bud Light?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it did.
Well, like after a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, dude, once people actually change a brand,
Yeah.
they don't go back.
Yeah. I don't know though, man. I mean, it's still a company. If it was like everybody just walked away from it, it wouldn't be a thing. So,
What do you mean?
well, I mean, you can still get Bud Light all over the place, you know? So, if we had murdered off the brand, you'd have like taps that weren't being used and stuff like that. And, you know, we'd have rebranded it by now, something different. So,
Like, I still don't.
if it was that bad, like 99% of the people who drink Bud Light stopped drinking it,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to buy it. So,
Oh, no,
because
no.
they'd stop selling it. They would have rebranded it. So,
Okay.
yeah,
all
I
right,
don't
see
know
what
how
you're
bad it
saying.
actually was. So, you know, because it's still the number one tap that you see at every restaurant out there.
I suppose.
Yeah, you always see that one. So,
I don't know.
I don't know. So, and then the other thing is Budweiser's an enormous company. So they have many other brands that you don't even know are Budweiser brands until you look at the can.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
And they changed hands, though, didn't they?
Something. Yeah.
So I thought for a minute there they were owned by some Europeans.
I think they are.
I thought they were, and then they came back here.
They might have come back
and it was
here.
a big deal.
Yeah, because I think Coors is actually owned by Europeans. So, if I'm not mistaken.
Because that's the thing. There's only, like, when it comes down to the family of beers, so to speak, there's only, like, 3 big players, if I recall.
I think there's down to 2.
Two? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's InBev and then whatever Budweiser is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then whoever owns Corona / Modelo. There's another one. So I don't know. I don't know that much about it.
Yeah. The fucking beer Zaibatsus.
There are definitely like liquor Zaibatsus.
Yeah.
So yeah. Who own all the brands and all the distribution points.
I remember that. I remember Seagram's was actually a pretty healthy puncher in that field for a while, but they took a hit because the kids from that family are the ones who started that Nexium cult.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't start it, but they funded that fucking freak show that
a bunch of people went to jail over.
Rightly so.
Right.
They were branding human beings.
In Manhattan.
Yeah. Hey.
When's the movie coming out?
Sorry, man. That's some shit that should not be happening in this year.
Oh, that's what I didn't see any movie trailers today.
Oh.
I don't think I saw any movie trailers.
You know what? I gotta put that to you. I don't think you would have cared if you did.
No, I don't.
Because you're not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be something that's just absolutely like everybody's got to be talking about it now to get me to go pay like $19 to sit in the movie theater for 3 hours. So
I can't imagine anything that you would possibly care about.
I mean, other people would have to convince me that it's the most awesome thing and I should catch it in the theater while I can. And I need to hear that from multiple vectors before I would do it. So.
See, that's a tough sell to me at this point. I know, and I, you know me, I used to love going to the movies like every week.
Yeah.
Especially since I live here. Just go to that first showing, fucking $7, get you the best seat in the house. Nobody's there. You watch it, opening day. But at this point, once COVID kicked in, and they really started rushing shit to home markets faster than ever. If I miss it, I swear it's like, guys, it's going to be like 2.5 months.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. It's fine.
Not even worried about it, yeah.
And on top of that, I have free reign where if I'm getting bored, I can pause it and go do something else for a minute. I can go pee. I can eat something. I mean, this is the stuff where I know that there's an experience to it, and truth is, I don't ever want to see theaters go away. I don't think they will. I don't think they will. Yeah, I think it's actually a valuable experience, but for me, I guess I've hit that age where I can wait a few months. It's okay.
It's fine. Yeah.
Sort of in the same thing where I don't buy games retail.
Yeah, I was, my brother was trying to poke me. He's like, well, have you checked out Sim 7? I was like, I saw the $75 price point, so.
Is that the lowest cost one?
I think there might have been a $69 one.
Oh my God.
So that was pre-release, and then if you bought it after, then I think it was $75. I just looked at it the other day, so.
Really?
Yeah, I mean...
That's a $70 price tag. Shit.
Well, I mean, I think that's going to be normal for a while, but...
For some stuff. I think that you're going to have a...
You got tons of indie games.
I think you're going to
have... I didn't know about these tiered systems that they basically have out there of like, basically there's like 5 set price points for most games. It's under 5... It's like $5.99. Okay, and then there's like a $15 game, there's a $30 game, and then there's a $70 game, and then there's the whatever, the subscription based.
Well, battle passes or season passes or things like that too.
Stuff like that,
Or free to play.
Oh, there's a lot of free to play too. So even on Steam, there's a shitload of free to play. So,
tons.
Yeah, tons. So
and they make all their money off of. Do you want to buy costumes? A lot of people say yes.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Well, actually, no. It turns out that a lot of people don't. It turns out that like 10% of people do.
But they buy all of them.
Well, I saw the numbers on this. Actually, it wasn't that. It was so like 10 to 15% will grab a couple of things, and then it's that 1% that buys everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
I was just into it.
Yeah, because there are a few people that'll buy like a few things here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's Star Citizen for years now. So
Star Citizen. Which one is
Star Citizen is the game that's been coming out for like fucking 10 years.
Oh, that game. Yeah.
So
That's
it's actually
fucking...
in a playable state.
It
so
is?
You can go play it for free. Yeah.
Really?
But if you want any cool shit, you gotta pay.
All right. Well, good on them for releasing it. That was I forgot about that was a joke.
They raised
for a long
more
time.
money than any 2 games put together ever. So
listen, man. Shit happens.
I know,
Duke Nukem Forever eventually came out. It wasn't any good, but it eventually came out.
It did get eventually. I do remember that. Yeah. So smoke him if you got him.
Well, I got it. I mean, I'm glad that it actually came out in a playable state. That's cool. I'd rather... I totally forgot about it.
Well, it's not released. It's still beta. So, but you can go play the beta.
Beta is something.
Beta is basically your release nowadays.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you release something on beta where people can go buy it, that's when it hits YouTube. That's when, people are going to make their decision whether they're going to buy it or not.
Yup.
So you're making your call then. So,
yeah, I think I've made the decision at this point. I don't think I'm ever going to buy anything on early access anymore. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean it in that by the time they actually get around to the finished product, I have lost interest.
Yep.
And that's not fair. What I want to do is I want to play the game I want to play the full game when it comes out to actually want to go through that. Because that game that you got me into there that I was hooked in there for a minute and then stopped, Manor Lords. Once the final thing comes out, I'm not going to go back to it because...
No, I'm probably not either, man. And they've done a lot of work on it, but it's all like, just like little things here and there. And it's like, no, man. Fix the battle system, make it so they can build a fucking stone castle. Let's go. But, I mean, this is like... And, so that one... Yeah, I think that one was at the $20 price point, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been 15.
Yeah, it wasn't expensive.
No, it wasn't expensive. So, like, a beta like that, I don't really mind. But once I'm done playing it, it's rare that I actually go back, and give it another shake, unless it's a game that just I really got into. Like I've done 2 full playthroughs of Cyberpunk. I might do a 3rd, someday. I don't know. So, you never know. Sometimes you wake up and it's like, I haven't been to Night City in a while. Let's go. So...
So I thought about it. there was a little like there was a little throwaway thread there where somebody just posted it was from the Phantom Liberty DLC.
Dogtown.
Yeah, was that what it was called? Okay, yeah. So they posted a picture of one of the kids, the girl, and the caption was just, "This character didn't have to die," right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, she does, but I mean...
she does.
But, my response to this, and this actually got a lot of traction from people, I guess, who felt the same way that I did, where I said, like, yes, she does. Of course she does. You can't take the shine away from fucking Panam, who needs to call you every 5 minutes and have you drive out to settle some hillbilly
bullshit
out in your tent city dirt farm.
Right.
And
fucking motorhomes.
I'm sorry, you can't have interesting characters around. You have to kill them in order to make these people actually pop up. Because again, there's this whole thing. In hindsight, those are the things that I'm remembering hating is, all right, I'm doing shit. I get this phone call of like, V, you have to come out here. You have to... Saul has lost his mind again.
He's lost his mind again.
And
so he's taking the children and we don't know where they are.
And you're like, are you in town?
Are you in town? Yeah. Get some time on Friday.
Is the problem close to me? Or do...
Well, yeah, and especially that game, because I refuse to fast travel in that game. So...
Look, there were times where I know that there's places where, look, I'm over here, I want to get... It's fine. But, yeah, for the most part, it's just that thing of, like, okay, if you're close to me, I'll help you, but you're not, are you? I have to drive all the way back out there to that shithole that you live in.
Yeah.
Like, drive my motorcycle through a whole ton of cactuses that are going to explode.
Right, they're going to explode.
Because, the road takes these big circular lines around to where you are, whereas I can take a straight line through the
right
dirt.
through the desert, yeah, from the highway.
Yes, you know where I'm going.
I know exactly where you're going.
So I have to leave this really interesting part of town
Yeah.
and take 7 minutes driving out to your bullshit area to get into the same fight that you're always having.
Every
Right?
time, yeah.
Dude, I don't agree with all his decisions, all right? But he's like, can't you be cool? And she is like, no, V, I cannot be cool. And and so there seems to
I'm
be
a long fucking way from fucking cool, yeah.
So yeah, there seemed to be a lot of people that agreed with that sentiment of disliking this character
Panam.
situation, and that's the parts of the game that I'm remembering. Like, yeah, I'd like to fire this back up. Maybe I could. I'll look and see if there's a way to mod her out of the game.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Last time I played it, I did her shit last. So,
Yeah,
I just left her out there. I had
Yeah.
already run all over town with Johnny at that point in time.
Yeah.
The last playthrough, I actually unlocked some shit that I hadn't seen before, which was kind of cool.
Did you?
So,
Okay.
yeah. If you keep doing Johnny's stuff for him.
Oh, there was.
There's a lot of stuff there. So, yeah.
There's the last time I played, yeah, I totally missed out on a lot of stuff. Especially, I didn't even do the whole thing where you like get the band back together.
I did that one. That one's fun. Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, they all coked out in this fucking house. Yeah.
It was great.
It was great.
I totally missed it.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, but then like the last time I played it, Pan Am's mission, there's only like 4 missions you have to do. So, that are main story missions.
Yeah.
And then once she gives you the rifle, you're done with her. You don't have to do anything.
Right.
else.
Right.
So, and then like there's that whole thing, and the first time she's like, hey, we're going to go get my truck back. I'm like, all right, we got your truck.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we need to go kill those guys. I was like, no, we're not going to do that. And she hated me. So for that, and I loved it because she didn't bother me all the time. So she was like, you ratted me out to Rogue. I was like, yep. Yes, I did. So then I did a lot more of the stuff with the Japanese guy in the last one. It was kind of fun.
Oh, okay.
There's a
okay.
lot of stuff you can do with him too.
It's stupid.
You can save his ass. So, or you can have him you can leave him there and he dies.
Wait,
So-
which guy?
The Japanese dude, what's his name? The guy with the ridiculous Japanese accent.
Oh,
You know who
right,
I'm talking
right.
about.
The guy that you do all the missions with.
Yes, him.
The guy that's part of
Arasaka, but he's outside of the company at that time. He's
Right.
the guy who's supposed to protect the old man before he gets choked up by his kid.
Right. Right.
There's a bunch of shit you can do with him that you can completely just blow right by and not even notice it. So
No, it's just things that are supposed to be sentimental. She's like, no, V, you can have this rifle. It's like, hey, no problem, man. It's like,
Way to go
tell you
sell
what,
it.
it's like, tell you what, I'm gonna do you a favor. I really appreciate the gesture, but the trash can is right over there.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and just walk it straight into there because I don't need it.
I don't
okay?
need it.
All right.
No, although if I recall, that was the only like sniper rifle in the game that you could get that has silencer on it, so I did keep it. So
Okay, so her silenced rifle does nothing for gorilla arms, and
No, it
that's
doesn't,
sort
yeah.
of
Raptor Claw's not either. Yeah.
it's like,
So,
thanks, honey. It's like I'm not even gonna hang this in my house. I wouldn't. This is a way. I don't want the cops.
I think it
messing
does
with
take one of the slots in your house though.
this. I think it does.
Yeah.
because it's a
I
unique
tried
weapon.
collecting a bunch of those weapons, and I couldn't find fucking half of them. So
Well, I could give a fuck because I mean,
Yeah,
I was
I know,
stripping off, especially in the first build. I was stripping everything down for parts. Or
Right, yeah.
yeah,
He's breaking apart like Legos. And
Jesus
building-
Christ, yeah.
That's how-
You want to talk about like? Did you guys picture the actual gameplay loop here? It's like, I want you to imagine what I'm doing. I don't want you to imagine me pressing and holding a button to make these disintegrate.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to imagine that I'm sitting here on the street corner. I just picked up like 10 guys' weapons, and I'm
Right.
just breaking them down
Right,
for
yeah,
parts,
yeah.
one by one.
Yeah.
Can you picture that?
I mean, yeah, does this make sense? The second iteration is so much better. So
I mean, it did feel weird, after changing it because the way that you do things is definitely different. But yeah, the given that the actual games, switch around and say like, we actually have this system of it's the game is about transhumanism. It's like, yeah, those were all like optional things.
Yeah, they were.
Before.
Yeah.
Versus you actually changing your body to grow this way. I said, oh well, right. That was the whole point of what you were trying to do. You just didn't incorporate it into the game.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Second time they fixed that. Yeah.
Which is weird because they do this whole thing with cyberpsychosis in the game. But it
I killed so many of those dudes. I was not good at that part, man.
oh again, that was the whole
Like, yeah, you put a little chip in this 44 Magnum and it turns it non-lethal. I'm like, what? Why would I do that?
After I put one of those in a baseball bat. Which...
I'm gonna try to put one in a samurai sword next time.
I mean, so how exactly? I was like,
Yeah.
how do I put it in a bat with a nail? I mean, that's not.
There's a rubber screw sticking out of it. You know?
There's no slot.
Ow! It tickles, man. So, all right, I submit. You know?
And again, because me thinking that me punching counted as like non-lethal, I was like, I thought.
See, that's funny. Yeah, that's actually funny. Considering, like, 90% of the guys that you do, you're basically ripping them in half.
You're watching, especially when you pick up and throw people at the.
Right.
You throw people at people, and both parties explode.
Right.
So, like, does that count as lethal? I don't know.
It's just special effects explosions. It's okay.
Well, I
just
mean,
walk it
yeah,
off
it's,
later.
it's like, so I need you to know something about anatomy. It's like, so you need your liver to live, and that guy's is like way over there.
There's a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who's whose.
I
Yeah.
can't tell them apart now.
Right.
Yeah.
So grab a handful of something, stuff it back into him, and then maybe he'll survive.
Oh, see, I don't know how serious they are about actually releasing The Witcher 4 this fall, but it seems like they are. So they've apparently been working on it a lot.
I guess.
I don't
I
know.
suppose, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, and they were saying the same thing about GTA 6 is supposed to drop this fall too. So, but
That's the one that they think is going to release at $100.
you think? Yeah,
That's what they've been talking about. They've been saying that
I could see that.
this is the scuttlebutt right now is I guess a lot of developers are hoping that GTA 6 breaks the $100 cherry and it opens the gate for people to actually raise the prices of their games.
Yeah.
Just to make it standard.
I don't know if that's actually
man.
going to work,
I
though,
don't
man.
know.
I mean, there's so many games coming on the market, so quickly. I mean, my Steam page every single day has got new shit on there that wants me to go try out.
Tons.
Yeah, there's no way. I just don't have enough time. So, I mean, and the thing about, like, even that, all right, so if I go, like, through my Steam library, I could probably take a look that I go through stints of about, a month or two where I'm playing the same damn game,
Yes.
okay, which takes me that long to learn because I'm a little retarded when it comes to learning games.
Well,
I am, dude. I'm stupid.
we're not kids anymore.
I know, man. And so, and there's a lot of mechanics out there that people would think, oh, this is intuitive. I'm like, I don't fucking get this. It's like right click means you back out of it. So anyway, and then, so maybe over the course of the year, that gives me what, 7-8 games, so total. Okay, there's more than that on my feed every single fucking day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's bananas. I mean, unless you're gonna niche down and just stick in one like genre or something like that. But I like to jump around, man. I like to play a lot of different shit. So
I agree. I mean, I don't really stick to one genre either at this point. And this is the other, weird thing about it is yeah, you can look at things that would have like gotten attention a while ago, but they're like, all right, so hey, there's a new Assassin's Creed game coming out. I'm like, yeah.
yeah,
And at certain times that might have, called my attention, but at the same point, there's just as likely a thing about I could go ahead and go onto Steam tomorrow. There's something getting huge downloads at like $5.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what is this? It's like, oh, check this out. This is a game about you're playing a patrol boat.
oh yeah,
So what's so special about it? Well, it's $5. It's extremely fun to play, and that's the thing is you'll find yourself putting 60 hours into this $5 game.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you look at this thing that's been, spit and polished by, a studio of 1,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, this it's like, you can cut the bamboo, but like, okay, that's like, who gives a fuck?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't been in Minecraft in a while.
People still play the shit out of that game. I watched. I was watching some of the Hololive people on the new server. That is it's a ship of Theseus thing, man. That like Minecraft is not the game that I used to play. That
no.
Entire world, like except for the fact that things still look like blocks, the entire game has changed around me that I don't recognize it.
There's so many new items in it. I was watching, like one of the big Minecraft servers for a while on YouTube, and it was kind of fun. These guys would do build challenges and stuff like that. And it's not a creative server,
right?
So you have to go mine your shit, and stuff like. So these people build these fascinating machines, that mine the shit automatically, and they just go visit their place, all their farms. It's like that is fucking clever. I would have never thought of doing it that way, but anyway. But there's so much more functionality in the game now. I seen this guy, he built a computer in Minecraft just using redstone. An actual computer, like a 286. So it actually runs fucking games. So that is bananas. But if you think about it, what's a computer? It's just a bunch of circuits. You can do that in Minecraft.
That's why the game isn't going anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
I did hear that. I think it was the guy who invented it, Notch, the other day, said that he was like, okay, let's do Minecraft too. So,
well, he said, well, he can't. That's not
he said he can't.
He's not allowed to.
Oh, he's not.
Right. Oh. He doesn't own the property. So,
why would he post that then?
Well, what he said was he was doing a spiritual successor.
Oh, okay, got it.
And I don't know, maybe that works, and if it does, good for him. I just think that at this point, Minecraft is an institution. It's
it is, yeah.
It's its own thing. It's its own place. I don't know. Probably, as a matter of fact, if it does something to the point where it causes him to make something that deviates from it enough to be its own thing, is exactly what I'd want it to be.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of Minecraft clones out there, though. So
there are,
yeah.
And again, they all that would be to say, like in some ways, like Valheim's a Minecraft clone, sort of. But I wouldn't really consider them.
They're neighbors, I guess. So
exactly, yeah.
I want to say this, man. I haven't played Valheim in a while, so.
And that was a great game.
That was a lot of fun.
Again, that was the early access curse. I don't want to go back to it because it hooked me so badly at that point where I'm like, it's not just I want to play this, I have to play
this. I haven't had a game that hit me that bad like that in a while. I mean, I was hoping that Skylines 2 was going to do that to me, and it still does not do it for me, man.
The first one did.
I fired it up the other fucking day, and I'm sitting here just dinking around for a little while. I'm like, okay, they fixed this. That seems to work a little bit better. And it's like, why is everybody broke?
Oh.
And it's like, never mind. Exit. It's just like, you want me to have all these things, I have no money to do it, so you want me to take out debt or establish neighborhood connections, things like, can't I just build a fucking town, please? So,
it's almost to the tune of why don't you guys have two separate modes in this? Why don't you guys have cities 2 stupid and then cities 2 basic? And it's fine.
Yeah, I don't understand it, man.
I guess I would ask you this: when did, within the SimCity genre, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? When did, I would argue that SimCity 2000 was the biggest change.
2000? Where it went isometric?
Well, yeah. So isometric, I would argue that the most changes to the game, like from one game to the other,
probably from 1 to 2. Because you couldn't zone anything. I mean, you just had those droppable zones, in one. Well, and you're forgetting there's deluxe in there too. That was basically like, one with bells and whistles.
Fair enough.
So
Okay.
I think I had that version
Yeah,
on my Super
yeah.
Nintendo. Yeah, probably SimCity 2000. That was the one with the arcologies in it though. Those giant, fucking mushroom buildings you build in the future. Remember those? Yeah, that was kind of dumb.
Wasn't bad. I mean, that's a cool
Wasn't
thing to add. I'm just saying that, like 2 to 3, there was definitely a difference, but it did not feel like.
No, there were a lot of things that they added in 3. That was the one where you got all the city advisors. They were little Sims. Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, the little jerk offs that.
Right.
Well, and the chumps that would come bother you, right?
That was in 2.
That was in 2. Okay.
The below average bowling league.
Yeah,
The cartoony guys.
Yes.
Those were in 2, and then in 3 they turned them into Sims. So, yeah, you had like the 5 Sims.
Okay.
Because the water, this is like the power was out.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because at that point, the Sims themselves had become the building block of the Sim universe.
And they weren't before. So,
and that being said, that's another thing that I kind of miss about, sort of old PC gaming is Sim blank. Obviously I don't need Sim Copter or anything stupid like that, but some of the other games like, even like Sim Ant was fun.
Sim Ant was a really fun game. I played that at school. So
great game.
Yeah.
Totally different scope, but it was fun. Sim Earth was a little bit weird. I liked it, but it was.
I think I never played that.
It had shades of wanting to teach you something. I don't
like that in my game.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm that way with games and any form of like digestible media. Now it's like, wait a minute. I don't have agency here. You're trying to lecture me, dude. So knock that off. So you tell me that I need fucking low income housing. Fuck off.
Well, that's the weird thing is dog, what are you doing?
What's your dog doing, man?
No, she heard a firework and she freaked out.
Oh.
But I don't know if she wants to stay there or not. So
I think she's okay.
Okay, we'll just leave her like that for a second. But yeah, look, we've talked about this. This is a big thing that's going on in all games right now. The idea of you don't have a position to moralize upon. I don't want you to say it. You're a bunch of stupid kids. I'm not interested in what you have to say.
No, I'm not interested in your moralizing.
Absolutely not. It's taking away from the experience. It's also detrimental to your sales. Stop it.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, I've been very good at detecting that bullshit from games.
Yes.
And I don't tolerate it anymore. So,
I mean, that's not to say, like, there were times that they tried to sneak some of that shit into games before.
Well, Starfield tried to do it all the time. So,
go further back. Go to, there were games back then that did have sort of light messaging about that, but again,
I'm trying to think of the last time that I really got by a game on that stuff.
Well, like, take for example, if we go back, there was a character in Dragon Age Inquisition called Krem that worked with the Iron Bull that was genderless. That was actually, transgender, where it's like, yes, I'm a female, but I identify as a man, right? It's
in Inquisition?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Well, here's the thing. It was a side character.
Oh, okay.
You could dive into it and dive into this a little bit if you wanted to, but also this is a secondary character. So if you're like, nah, I don't care about this. And I think that was one of the options, was like, I don't care, right?
Yeah, you could say that a lot in that game.
And that's
There's a shitload of content in that game I never got to. So
that all that game was content. It was how much wandering do you want to do? I'm like, well, all of it. I got
the wandering was actually really fun.
like this is
it was like, what's around this corner? It's like, I gotta use the hand on this thing.
I gotta use the hand. Yes, I gotta use the little hand radar, the little the little ping system, which this is asinine, but I'm okay with this because this game is, what do you really want to do? I want to find stuff.
And I want to fight a lot of monsters.
I fight. The monsters are okay, but more so, I want to find crap. I want to take said crap, and I want to go to my anvil, and
Yeah.
I want to take like the two like dragon teardrops and the
Right.
and the argyle plaid shit, and make something here. I want to make a jacket out of it or whatever. Um, it was a do stuff game. There was just always stuff to
There's
do.
always stuff to do in that game.
If I look back on it and say, was it complex? No. Was anything complex in it? No.
No, there was just a lot of it.
There was just a lot of it, and that actually felt fine. But yeah, there were certain things that, yes, they brought this up like it was.
That was kind of cool because you kind of built a realm in that,
Yeah.
and it was kind of neat. So in the story, like, I actually liked the story in Dragon Age Inquisition. And then there were like different parts. Like, remember we had to go to that masquerade ball?
Yes.
That was nice. You don't really do things like that in games too often, man. So it's kind of like, oh, okay. Wait a minute, are we here on some secret covert? Well, no, you're just at a ball. It's like, oh, cool. And then shit happens. So
You did have to sneak around in the mansion.
You did have to sneak around the mansion.
But even then, that wasn't a big deal. In fact, that was it was a nice distraction from the shit. That was the thing. That was a kitchen sink game. It really was. It was to the game's credit. There were things where you thought it was going to be this when you'd look at the map and be like, oh, okay, so am I doing like Risk here? It's like,
Oh yeah, I remember that. You had to fight the battles.
yeah,
Yeah.
until it's not, and then you like,
Well, yeah, you can't go lead your own army. It's just like, nah, go ahead and take care of that. He comes back, hey, my lord, we actually killed them all.
do we want to go here or here?
Yeah.
Like, will it make a difference?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm going to tell you it is.
Right.
Will there? Yeah. So little things in there they threw in there. Like, yeah, I caught up on it, but I'm like, I don't care. I have that option to say, away with you. I don't. These are your deal. You have to be in these games where they raise these issues. You have to be able to take the other side and say, "Get out." You could kick out party members in that.
You could, yeah.
If you didn't like them,
Yeah.
or you're just like, "Oh, well, you irritate me," or like, "You're a lesbian. Get out." Now, obviously, it wouldn't be on those lines, but you'd be like, I have no room for you."
Right. Yeah, I think I rotated through just about everybody in the party except for the one. There was one sorceress lady, the black lady. She was my
Vivienne.
Vivienne. She was badass, but she was my class,
Right.
and so that's the only reason why I never took her
It's
up.
like, hey, this is my job.
Yeah,
so.
this is my job. This is what I do. So yeah,
Right. So what you need to do,
let's go sit on that couch.
because one of us is going to need to switch jobs.
Right? Yeah, I can't make you do it.
I'm the Inquisitor, you see.
Right? Yeah.
So,
Right. There's only room for one Jedi in this party. Yeah.
so I'm willing to. Here's the thing: I'm willing to pay for you to go back to community college, and
You're gonna learn how to code.
because we don't have one of those.
We don't have a coder.
Right.
So.
And I mean, here's the thing: is I know guys, I can get you a job right out of college.
Yeah, no problem.
Right out. They will call you the
No
day
problem.
you graduate.
Yeah. So just drop my name. They're gonna
Right.
be like, oh, the Inquisitor.
Right.
Yeah. You're right. He does need, a new network certificate. System. Yeah. Sure, you get your Sec Plus while you're there.
Of course, it's but to learn the code.
Right. Yeah.
Well, okay.
No, I rotated just about everybody else through on that one. There were a couple of them that didn't get along with each other, and I actually found that entertaining.
Well, that was part of the fun
Yeah.
part of the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was a good game. I don't remember like too much. I mean, you can kind of see where like, okay, maybe they're doing some things where they're going to try and push, but like all the stuff that I've heard about the latest one is just absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. I always take that shit with a grain of salt because reviews on Steam are basically useless. So, but then I went and watched a couple of YouTube playthroughs on it. I was like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I did the same thing with Baldur's Gate 3. I was like, no, I'm not going to do the turn-based thing. I'm sorry. So,
That's what stopped me.
otherwise I totally would have played that. So, but it's like, no, man, so this is
too far to.
This isn't
to
the
go back
486 days where, yes, you need to load each instance into my RAM. Come on. So,
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna. there is room for turn-based stuff in this world, but not for me. That part of my life is over. That just it seems archaic. There's nothing to me that would be so special about the way that you do it that would make me say, "Oh, we should go back to this," or "There's room for this." No, you're the worst, Patrick. I've said this before. The worst crime that you commit in a video game is not being respectful of my time.
Yeah.
And turn-based combat in a role-playing game is the very definition of being disrespectful to my time.
Yeah.
At this point,
I can't think of I think the last one that I actually played was Stick of Truth. So it was turn-based.
to
But that game was
credit,
kind of half and half. So the combat was turn-based, but everything else you just stomp around with your controller. So remember?
Yes, but
Yeah.
also the combat itself was sort of turn-based. I mean, it was turn-based plus. You were never really at a point where you're just watching.
No, you never had to do that.
Because to its credit, it had an attack and a defend mechanic within those things. So you're not completely turned off just hitting the A button over and over again.
Oh, that's right. I do remember it. Yeah, you're right. It did have a defense mechanism. That was pretty well done.
I mean, it was simple, but the thing was, it was a necessary component of the game to get you through the game, because the actual game itself, obviously it wasn't that complex. The thing that worked about it, the thing that was fun about it, was this being the first good game in the South Park franchise over so many years, was the fact that you were in this place and you were essentially taking a 25-year tour through this city and all the places around it, and that was the game. You know?
Yeah, you saw all the things. So
and they all had something to do with it. They were little things, there were big things. All these things were part of it, which is why the game after wasn't all that special, because it came out like 2 years afterwards.
Yeah.
And
that was 3D real time, so it looked weird. So
no, it looked the same, but
did it?
Yeah,
I thought it was 3D.
Oh,
okay.
No.
I might be thinking of a different one then.
But it was, the thing was, it didn't have, it wasn't like going through 20 years of show. It was going through like 2 years of show, because and it just didn't feel special. It was a different combat mechanic. Again, it wasn't bad, but it also wasn't great. Whereas I'd say, like, I would play through the Stick of Truth now.
I probably would too. Yeah.
It was silly, you know. But that
game like really got some belly laughs out of me from time to time.
It hit at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Or just, I don't know. It worked at that moment. It probably wouldn't work now.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no. Yeah, that one. I think that was the last one that I played that was truly turn-based. Other than like Civ 6. So, you know.
So, did you want to get Civ 7?
I don't think so, man. So, Civ 6 was such a, you know, kind of.
You're summing it up with a sound, huh?
Yeah. It wasn't clean. It was
unintuitive.
It was very unintuitive. There were so many stupid mechanics in that game. You know, like, oh, +1 to this over the course of the next 50 years. It's like, fucking write it down somewhere, okay? You know, I mean,
well, and was Civ 6 the one where you had to choose like city zones?
Yes. Yeah, it was like, what? Yeah, I know. Get out of here with that. I'm tired of that shit. You know.
Yeah, that sucked.
So it looks like 7 is kind of the same way. So, I'm not going to spend $70 on a game that's going to piss me off. So, and then, there are a couple guys that I watch, and one of them's kind of like way into it and stuff. But he's like, yeah, there's a lot of jank in this game. It's like for $70, I don't want no jank in my game, man. So, you know, come on.
And don't get me wrong. All right, so I do catch a little bit of unrealistic bitching from time to time when people talk about wow, this is janky, you know, think about this. Let me tell you about the old days here. It's like, so this is Super Mario World, and this came out in 1991, and as you can see, it is a jankless game, and it came out, the full game released it the whole time. It's like, yeah, I get it, but this is a side-scrolling game that is limited in scope, it does what it does extremely well.
Yeah.
But it is exactly two-dimensional here, right? It just it's polished at what it does.
Well, and you had to ship it on a cartridge, so you had to fucking test the fuck out of it. So
Also that, but on top of that, it's a limited scope of what you're asking it to do. If you're taking something here and just adding a third dimension, saying like, yes, there's a greater likelihood of jank because the number of variables that came up just went through the roof.
Oh, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially when people start putting all kinds of weird shit in the games that just don't need to be there.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And given that these a lot of these games are just basically overstuffed pinatas where it's like, does this help the game or is it just stuff? It's like, it's stuff.
A lot of it's just stuff.
A lot of it's stuff. Then yes, you're going to have more jank and you're going to have, updates and stuff like this. So I'm like, cut these guys a little bit of slack. No, there's no excuse for this to be. I don't think there's ever any situation where a game should be unplayable on the disc day one that you have to download and patch it when you first get it. That seems crazy to me.
Seems nuts.
But
yeah,
but the comparing to is like, well, this game came out in 1991. It was perfect when it came out of the box. It's like, God damn it, dude! It's like,
stop that.
It's a totally different era, and it's a totally different style game. Jesus Christ!
And I mean, you just understand that there's like a few things that it seems like they're small changes, but would actually like make your game infinitely more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And so people, I've been playing 3D games for a while. It's like, no, that's 2D isometric. Okay, it's using the exact same thing as fucking Mario 2.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So they just drew it so it looks completely different. That's not a 3D fucking game. So
those are all pre-rendered assets.
They are. Every last one of them is pre-rendered asset. They're stuck in a library and they're recalled, and
you understand it now. Yeah.
I'm starting to get some of that, man. But I'm also starting to see that there's a lot of people who probably play, have played too much like Axis and Allies and shit like that.
Oh no!
Over the years,
what?
Why can't we just change this one little thing? And it's like, because that changes everything that everybody else has already been working on.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's really a big deal. Because I see that with like certain games where it's like, oh, it'd be great if you could actually do damage on the map. I was like, that's a completely different game. It is a completely different ground up setup. Okay. So you need to make that decision way before now. If you're going to do that. So, I mean,
right.
I've played a lot of train games, and it's just like that, where people are like, "Well, you can't do tunnels." I was like, "Nope," and you never will in this game, and I can tell you exactly why. So, would real trains have tunnels? And it's like, yeah. The guy who designed this should have thought of it before he built this entire fucking game like this. So
that should have been in his pitch.
That should have been in his pitch. Yeah, exactly.
No, that's fine because you're right. Things like, and this is the thing that people still don't get is like, think about it now, Patrick. Think about what does it take to do destructible environments?
A lot.
Even back when they could do it, when they first started doing it, it was still tough then. It has not gotten any easier since then.
No. That requires a hell of a lot, because you have to update the actual state of it. So if you like throw a hand grenade and it leaves a hole in the ground, okay, you have to update, so when you walk away, okay, and you can't see that hole in the ground no more because it's been, pulled off your field of view. So it goes out of memory, so they don't have to render it. Okay, so you don't have like a frame rate of like 4. Yeah. So it's got to store that and then recall that the next time in that exact location, the exact size, exactly what it did, and everything that it changed. Let alone if you want to do something else with it. So, that's one of the things that makes Minecraft actually kind of genius, the way that it's written. So, because it's built that way from the ground up. So,
because that was the game.
That was the idea behind the game.
That was the whole idea.
Yep.
Like, Well, and that's again, people will say this shit. They'll say like, well, it had destructible elements in like Duke Nukem 3D. I'm like, you stupid asshole. Like,
Stupid asshole.
right.
The car just blows up and it's a different sprite now.
That's
it's still a
exactly
fucking car.
Oh, you broke the window.
Yeah.
That's right. It goes from regular window to broke window.
To open window. Yes. Yeah.
And a couple of little like glass things like
You get one little animation.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Same thing goes with blowing up a toilet. Same thing goes with I mean it's like how could they do that back then? I was like, guys. Well, and again, the same thing where it comes into games that actually do have quote unquote destructible elements. I mean, there are games that do have parts in there where so you have two difficulties. You have either A, pre-baked,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, okay, you shoot a column, it breaks into certain pieces because it has, when it's constructed, it's constructed of these 20 pieces that when it's hit, it'll fall apart.
Yep.
Or you have games that do have mathematically destructible things where it is physics-based, right? However, in order for that to work, you basically have to turn the resolution down to 480. Because if you have all of those things going on with every environment around you where you're saying like, well, what if I want to actually shoot rockets into the ground and blow a hole to China? Like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
We can do this. This game will run at 240 by 480.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah. You're gonna have to.
It'll be stretched.
You're gonna be in windowed mode.
Yeah. And what you're going to see here is it's all going to be made out of voxels because that's the only way to do it.
Voxels are kind of neat. So
They're so weird. They like
they're kind of neat. I've seen some pretty
incredibly
neat programs out there using voxels. So
it just hasn't. It needs to go to the next step. There's a genius to it that still is on the horizon. People have been working with it for
a long time,
decades.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I just came across it recently and I didn't realize it's like, oh, that's Minecraft. Got it. So but rather than 1 meter cubes, they're pixels. So got it.
Correct. Yeah. It's like I get it, and there are games that have fully destructible environments like that. A lot of them are voxel games, and it's cool because you bake that in there.
Yeah.
It's just it won't look like GTA 6, which is what people are asking.
It's never gonna look
for.
like GTA 6.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Right.
It can't. So I mean, you could do rendering, so like almost like a video filter on top of it,
Smoke and
make it look
mirrors,
pretty.
though.
Yeah, it's smoke and mirrors. What's going on behind it is just like, it's little blacks, little itty bitty blacks.
Yep.
So yeah.
And I understand that we were easy to please back then. So I mean,
We were very easy to please.
if you could shoot it like particle effects back then would they work great. You shoot a car, particle effects.
Right.
You see two pieces of the car, then like pieces like this is the graphics don't get any better than this.
No.
My mom came in and said like, "Oh, are you watching a program?"
Yeah.
I understand. I mean, this is some of the shit that people. It still happens in certain games, like sports games. The complaint has always been there, and it's not gonna go anywhere. Like people are like, the term that they used to use for this. I don't know if people still say this. They call it Tron jogging. Is
Tron jogging?
yes. So if you remember, like the speeder bikes in Tron?
Mm-hmm.
You know how they turned it like 90-degree angles?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So in those sports games, if you turbo run out to the side toward the sideline, then press up, right? Your player will stop on a dime and then basically go this way, right? That's where like the Tron part comes in. And you, in terms of like actual physics, your guy could do that, right? It'd be very difficult, but more so it's like, how do you account for that angle that the person is taking going from here when your control input wants to go up, down, left, or right, right? And there's this thing where what's going to happen is when you do that, it enters into a canned animation.
Oh yeah, it's
right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is you can't use a fully physics-based human running animation without it looking like fucking like Max Payne dudes getting shot in slow motion, right? Where it's just right, and you wouldn't play a football game like that where people are ragdolling around like that.
No.
So they're always like,
That'd be kind of fun though.
see, you would play it
I would
for
totally
that,
play it for that. Yeah.
right?
Not because it was a football game.
But it would look silly, and you would
totally
appreciate the shit out of it, right?
Yeah.
But there are people that are saying like, well, why do the tackles still look like last year's tackles? I'm like, well, okay, there's only so many ways to tackle a guy. You motion capture this, and when this happens, when you're in this range, this starts, and they're like, this still doesn't feel real. I'm like, brother, I don't know if it ever will.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fine tuning that goes into some of that stuff. I mean, me just fucking around with Unreal Engine a little bit. It feels like about 90% of all the games that you've ever played. Okay. So you can tell like right off the bat, it's like, oh, okay, you guys are using the animations that are baked into the engine. Great. All right, this feels fine because this is most of the games that I've played.
Yeah.
And then every now and then you get like a game where it has its own complete like proprietary in-house shit like GTA.
Yeah.
And it does feel a little bit different, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm starting to see like why that is because they've actually taken time to test some of that shit. So we like it this way better. Whereas like, the other major engines like Unity and Unreal, they have those animations in there. So, and it's way more efficient for you to just use those. So, because if you try and import something weird and it's like, what the fuck is this? And so, yeah.
And it's weird because there used to be, don't get me wrong, there used to be a lot more engines. So there was more variety.
There's a lot out there. I did not know this. There are a lot.
There are, but a lot of the big companies, basically, a lot of them are basically going to Unreal.
Unreal is king daddy right now. So, and I can see why. But it's. I mean, it wouldn't take too terribly long to learn. But the hard part behind it is then turning around and trying to like make it so that it doesn't run like fucking peanut butter. Trying to go uphill. So because I've done it like a couple of things in there was like, oh well, let me build a little town, and it's just like chucking, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Got it.
Well, that's the tough thing too. Is so, yeah. If you're gonna take something like this, and on top of that, so this is the other thing is like consoles don't have I mean, it's still complicated architecture in comparison to like what shit used to be, but it's not different architecture. It's all anything that you make in UE5 or whatever, you can put on consoles, you can put on PC, you can even put that on mobile depending on what you're doing, right? Yeah. Whereas take something different, take like the old Frostbite engine, and you're like, okay, so now we've made our own engine. It's like, yes. Now we have to port this to here, here, and here.
Yes. It sucks.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, it completely sucks. So, and there's, but even like, even some of the stuff that seems pretty easy to just port over from one to the other is not as simple. I mean, you have to design it from the ground up. All right. Yes. With that in mind, you can't take something and then, make it all nice and pretty and it works perfectly on one thing.
Yeah.
You kind of have to build it that way. That was the other thing that I found out about this is like, if you want to do any if you want to let people mod your game, you have to build that in there.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can, It is almost impossible for you after you've got it all, because you've got the compiler. Okay. And the compiler is usually proprietary in some way or another because you're not going to let other people compile their shit on your servers. Right. Okay. So if they want to actually mod the game, you have to build all the ports. Okay. So that they can plug in and actually like pop open your engine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Because otherwise, like when you actually build a game and you compile it and then you ship it, it's just an exe file, right? So along with all the, the directories and things like that, which are oftentimes unreadable files outside of your own infrastructure. So, yeah, I didn't know that. So, and that, there was one guy, I've been watching him doing a project with him, kind of like, trying to do it along with him. Kind of thing. He's on YouTube, so I'm just trying to copy what he did on YouTube.
For sure. Is it helping?
Kind of. So,
no? Oh.
Well, dude, I'm never going to be a great programmer because my brain does not work fast enough. So it really doesn't. Okay. I really have to look at math problems, and like really kind of like, what am I doing wrong? So, kind of thing. But I think it'll be serviceable. But the other thing about it is like, this guy was talking about that. He's like, so if you want to create this so that it's actually moddable, you need to start that at this step right here. And it's like the third fucking thing you do. So,
Well, then.
yeah. And so he was saying there's like all these other people out there like, oh, can we get mod support? He's like, no, because I'm not rewriting the whole motherfucking game. So,
And I get that other people can probably
oh, sure.
change that.
Yeah.
And that being said, that also explains why some games have tons of mods.
Yeah.
Some games have one.
Right.
You know,
Well, a lot of them have mods that are actually produced by the studio. So, that actually produce the game. So,
well, I think about what that is. I mean, so that's in many ways like DLC is a mod.
exactly. That's what,
Right.
Well, yeah, if you're going to build a game that actually is going to take in DLC in the future, you have to build it so that it can actually ingest that stuff.
Correct.
And not completely fucking break. So, yeah.
Which at that point you open it up to basically like the modding community. If you plan at some point to make extra costumes, for example, right, for sale, your game is going to be moddable because that's just how it goes. Which is, and to be fair, that is where a lot of creativity comes into it. I mean, the I have seen some people do very interesting and fun things with mods in games.
Yeah.
And that's not to say, like, obviously. So I remember messing around with fancy Doom mods and WAD files and Quake Total Conversions, Quake Rally.
Oh, I remember Quake Rally.
So it was a pretty good racing game.
Yeah,
I mean, all things considered, like stuff like that. I remember that stuff from back in the day. But people come up with great shit now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of good stuff out there. I don't know, man. I've got like a love-hate relationship with modding. So I've had a lot of mods for different games over the years that like is like, this is a really cool idea and you completely fucked my game. Thanks, dude.
What do you mean? In what way? Give me an example.
This used to happen in Skylines all the time. You download new assets or new mods that were actually, like manifesting new, mechanics. You load that in there, and it was absolutely a poison pill. I mean, it's like, oh, wait a minute. So you built this so it works perfectly on your fucking computer, okay, but not anybody else's computer, and you didn't say anything about that in the mod support up there and things like that. It's like, thanks, dude. So yeah, I just wrecked a city thanks to you.
Okay,
or
I see what you're saying.
There's other things where I've seen like mechanics get changed in a game, and it's like, wait a minute, this mod is dumb, okay? Because it just makes the game easy for you to play. So I'm like that's crazy. So I've had some really good mods that I've used over the years too. So there's like, this is really well thought out. You should hire this guy.
There's that. Yeah. There's other things where you say, wait a second. With this guy's work, he took all of these characters and made them not but ugly.
Yeah, they kind of erased.
Yeah. Well, not a race. He's doing this for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Why couldn't you guys do this?
Yeah, I've seen that happen a few times too. I was like, so this guy did this in about 10 minutes.
I mean, you've seen it. Like, here's the thing. As much as I love Fallout New Vegas, okay, everybody looks like they're missing a chromosome. I mean...
it's an ugly game. So,
and I get it. It's a limitation of the hardware, but you can go into the mods, and there are people that make characters look perfectly normal,
passable.
They look human.
They look human.
Yeah, they look human on that hardware or on that software.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. It's like, well, why couldn't one of your guys do this?
Right. I don't know. There's a lot of studios that make bad decisions about things like that. But I mean, some of those are things that are really early and they're very high level decisions. So like, Fallout New Vegas, I mean, one of the reasons why it's so butt ass ugly is because it's set in Vegas. So,
Stop it. Vegas itself is not ugly.
What about the 50 miles around it? So, there we go. Yeah.
So, okay, yeah. So the 50 miles around it, plus post-apocalypse, plus Gamebryo engine.
Right. Yeah. But even in like more modern titles, like Fallout 4, it's like, why did you set this thing in the fucking fall? Okay, it just makes it look that much more dreary. So, I mean, obviously, it's not because these are all dead standing trees, it's because it's the fall. So, so if it's been 200 years, okay, I didn't just pull this, like scrap this tree that was in my backyard last week, kind of thing. It obviously grew there in the last 200 years anyway.
Well,
So it's just like silly decisions like that I see some people making. I mean, Starfield, of course, is fucking riddled with them. So, but even Cyberpunk's got some parts that are kind of like, this was a bad idea. Why'd you do it this way? So
of course. Well, and Cyberpunk, as we've seen, is, especially in the first iteration, is there's no other way to say it other than ship it. Ship it. There's, you can see,
excuse me.
You can see the seedlings of a lot of broken dreams.
Yes, you can.
In that, where you can just tell. You could tell where, man, you had like 80 hours of story about to pop out of this, and you just had to nix it.
Yeah, so we got a lot of locked doors now. Got it.
A lot of locked doors. Lots of things that you can tell. I mean, because there is amazing detail put into certain things, and just like, I can tell you, I'm like, there probably was a lot more to do with these tarot cards than just finding them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I've never done that, actually.
You know what?
Unless you just kind of rando see one, so...
Because it doesn't fucking matter. There's like one extra line of dialogue if you find them all, and it's not something where... Oh, God, this is something I remember about games. I'm glad they don't do this as much anymore, but to find the true or good ending of the game meant finding everything, not doing everything or following everything to a conclusion, but you have to find like 98% of the crap.
Yeah.
Right? And that is something, again, to go back to it, Jeff's grand thesis of how to make me a happy guy, respecting my time. And if it's literally having me walk around and just like, well, you don't have all the items. Like, well, of course not. This never showed up. Well, it will show up. It just has a 0.06 drop rate. And if you want it, you have to.
Right. Yep.
I don't play games with random drop rates.
I mean,
I don't respect them.
But like, I know what I'm getting into when I do that. So
what are you playing with that kind of?
Oh, fucking Diablo, of course. So,
but Diablo doesn't handcuff you and say the game doesn't.
No, it does not do that.
You don't get like a true ending for not having.
No. So, in fact, I don't even think it has alternate endings. It's pretty cinematic. It's on rails. So, every last one of them I've played has been on rails.
Is there anything in Diablo that has?
No, all you do is hit things with the stick, and then it like explodes gold in between cutscenes. So the gameplay loop in Diablo is pretty fucking solid. It does not pretend to be something that it is not.
I feel like you know what you get, though.
You do know exactly what you get.
Yeah, this isn't.
See, that's a game. When I played that one last time, it was like someone done fucked up because this game was way too easy. So
and the increased difficulty levels didn't
matter. Didn't even matter. I mean, in the beginning, yeah, it's like, okay, you better run away from that thing. Okay, but once you figured out just a couple things, it was just like, Fallout with your set of pliers, and you're just like, wait a minute, I can put this on this, and then I can attach this, and this kills people from 1,000 yards away, and it's silenced, and it has 50 bullets, and they're 38s, so yeah. So Diablo is kind of like that too. It's like, wait a minute, I can stack all these thorns, and so I can just go around and hug people.
Was it fun?
No. But it let me do it to its credit. See, that's one thing I do like about games like that. If they say, okay, man, you can do that, so have at it. If you figure out a way that's kind of like, well, this is, I just, freaking easy mode my entire game. So, yeah. Good on me, that's fine, but I don't know, man. It's just like, I can tell that there's a lot of designers who haven't played as many games as they used to. So, you used to, like, you'd have, like, lead designers and stuff, like, they'd have libraries of games that they had played for decades. Or made. And now you can tell it's like, oh, wait a minute, you guys are just reading the Steam forums.
Well,
Yeah.
we're talking about, so we come from a, we're obviously not from the fucking,
Not from the Pong days.
no, we're not from like the Silmarillion, but I mean, we came in,
We're in the second act. Yeah.
So we were there in the Age of Men, and
Right.
so a lot of the people there, it's not those they were raised on Pong. We're talking about the people who were converts from basically like 10 years of tabletop gaming.
Right.
That went into computer gaming.
Yeah.
And they brought some of those concepts with them. And that doesn't just apply to like flight sims and stuff like that. It has everything to do with balanced mechanics. It has everything to do with, well, what the fuck is this guy supposed to be doing when the other dude is taking a 45-minute turn? Right? That kind of shit. You know why that comes up? Because you have that fight with other people in real life.
Every single time. Yeah.
That's you can't.
We should have figured that out ages ago when we actually tried to do a hot seat version of Empire Deluxe, man. So, where it'd be like,
Right.
we got through like 3 episodes of fucking, a Saturday afternoon cartoons before Kevin got his turn over with. It was like, do you have to touch every unit? Yeah. And the answer is yes. And so.
Well, then the answer is like, well, we can play, just not with you.
Just not with you.
That was not a solution. That's uncool. The game should have a mechanic here that's now, to be fair, a lot of those games have mechanics that you can adjust where it says set turn limit timer to this.
They did, yeah. A lot of those original ones did have that turn limit timer. In fact, I think even Empire did, come to think of it.
It may have. I don't remember.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's another way to do those things, especially if you're, and they figured this out in board games. So, like, Axis and Allies is still kind of an archaic thing because that's how it's played. You do all the things on your turn, and then it's somebody else's turn. But there's a lot of games out there where it's like, I make one move, you make one move, I make one move, you make one move. Those games fucking clip. I mean, you just go, and it's like, there's no reason why you couldn't do that in Axis and Allies.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because it's not even, it's all part of the same turn where it's like,
correct.
My phase, your phase, my phase, your phase,
Yep,
my phase, your phase.
yep,
It's
and ever since I played a couple games that do that, they're much like, I think Fallout was like, well, no, Star Wars was like that too. So, and I do have my copy of that. So
I thought you said it was gone forever.
I thought it was too, but nope.
Where did it show up?
It showed up in my brother's house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it did.
And if I recall, there was always. It was my turn, your turn, but I felt like it was very much.
Well, remember in that one, you had your dudes, and each one of your dudes could do a move. And so if I decided to use 5 of mine and you decided to use 3 of yours, it was I go, you go, I go, you go, you go, I go, I go, I go. Remember? So yeah.
Well, because there was a if I recall,
there was a limit to how many guys you could use.
There was you assign people to certain things, but you also had a pool of dudes that could be used to counter other people.
You're right.
Okay,
yeah,
right. Because you would never complete unless you basically sent everybody, which sometimes you did.
Sometimes you sent them all out on missions. Yeah, you're like, I'm not going to defend against nothing. So yeah,
it's all yours.
Yeah, it's all yours.
What did I do?
Yeah,
it's like because I'm over here like fucking. Setting bombs in waterworks over there to flip this over and
you're right. I'm sabotaging the reading railroad. What are you gonna do about it?
It's like, wait a second, you sent Chewbacca to destroy the electric company. It's like, yeah, you gonna do something about it?
Oh, I can't.
It's because it's Chewbacca.
Yeah, because I'm going to spend all my time moving my ships around looking for your fucking base.
Yeah. Because I never felt like it was just like, I'm going to watch you do your thing. Or, just that whole thing of like, Jeff, can you come back here? It's like, why? It's like, because I'm attacking one of your spots. I'm like, okay, give me like 5 more minutes to finish this match, and then I'll come in there and roll. You know what? Actually, Pat, you're there. You can roll for me.
Yeah, just roll for me. It's fine. Yeah.
And
that was Axis and Allies.
And that being said, I would argue that's part of Axis and Allies' charm at this point. It wouldn't feel like an Axis and Allies game without that.
No, but like, and what Axis and Allies did was then it, started to morph into this, humongous, like that 1940 game that we played.
Yes.
Holy fucking shit. I mean, I can't.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I can't believe that, I mean, I'm sure you can find guys to play you in that in tournaments or something somewhere. So
I wouldn't play it unless there was $500 on the line.
Yeah, no, me neither. Yeah, so and it also would have to come with a hotel stay. A continental breakfast, man. So...
You know what? And on top of that, this is the other thing that's such a fuck up is you would think that when you combine the boards, what it should do is actually say, all right, so you've combined the boards. There are actually less rules now.
Right, yeah.
Instead of saying, all right.
No, there's way more rules.
Chapter 3, shipping lanes. Explained. It's like, so if you control this area of water for this time, that's going to cost, if you hold it for 3 consecutive turns, that will cause 5 production dollars to go from this person to this person. Like,
yeah, see, and that's one of the problems, man. And I've seen that in a lot of computer games too. Is like there's some people who just don't get the concept of abstraction very well. So yeah, or it's like, hey, actually, can you boil that down to like the one mechanic that really matters? And if it's cool to play that way, do we really need to add a lot more things to it? Because I mean, there is a charm to Risk because it's basically, what are you guys doing? Armies are fighting, and it's like, well, we can do that with dice and just little, fucking counters, no big deal, kind of thing. It was like, well, no, we need airplanes and we need dive bombers and we need regular bombers and we need artillery because that was actually in the war. It's like, the armies things kind of work,
Well,
so
yeah. Because I mean, when it all comes down to it, within these within these spheres, there has to be a point where so this is where. Speaking of kitchen sink games, right? Civ 2 was the kitchen sink of Civ games. And the reason that it was the kitchen sink was when you go into it and you look at the just breadth of units.
Oh, and the massive tech tree. So
and the massive tech tree, and you say like,
I remember it was a fold-out thing that was like this. It was like a dinner menu. So
oh god, you'd hang it on your wall.
Yeah.
And if you go into that and you say, all right, so what's the plus and minus of this? You say like, well, all right, so here's what's good. You have a lot of realms to do what you think, is best. But ultimately here, there is still a rock, paper, scissors mechanic.
Yeah.
Only your thing is like, it's rock plus a little bit of scissor plus and here's eventually 5 more units get to half rock half scissor and then 5 more units gets around to scissor, right? And that's the thing is its triangulation here was so massive, right, that a lot of times you're like, well, actually my best solution is to not waste my time with any of these things, but to get to here when it's actually a useful scissor again.
Yeah, and so I will never ever build a legion in this game. Yeah.
There you go.
And that's in there. Yeah, even though it was in there. And so like Civ 1 was one of the few games in that entire series where you would burn through all the units because they were all handy.
Necessary at a certain time.
Yes. So, or it would give you an advantage, but you knew that advantage was temporary
at a cost.
Until you saw guys show up with musketeers. It's like, all right, fuck. All right, so I guess we're not building more knights. Got it. So yeah.
And that was it. Was everything had...
In fact, the knight was one of the ones you could skip if you really wanted to. So there were very few units in that game that you could skip. That was one of them. So they were also extremely badass if you built a bunch of them. I remember that.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, because in order to do that, you had to... There were at least 2 prerequisites for knights where it's like you have to like get monarchy and like something else.
I think the feudalism.
I think so, but you could skip feudalism.
You could, but you never got knights then.
Correct.
So, Correct. No, see that game was really like all Sid Meier games, the ones that he actually did, they're really tight games, so it's only later when, well, he did Civ 2 and that's all over the place. So, but it's really fun to play.
But that's the thing is when you ask for a sequel at that time period,
right?
That's what you wanted. Is like, so when you said, What's Doom 2 like? Doom with more stuff.
Way more levels.
It has an extra shotgun now.
Yeah, it is a double barrel shotgun and a spider thing.
Right.
Little baby spiders.
And check out the little chain gunner guy unit.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool. Right? So every sequel at then was this plus
Right.
more. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't blame them, but eventually you get to a point where you have to say, what is our mechanic and what do we need? Actually, what do we need to take out?
Oh yeah, and they, you know, like that's probably Skylines' big problem. So, you know,
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I would happily see half the mechanics gone
Yeah.
if the other half were better.
if they worked. Yeah.
Yeah. Or felt different. Like that's the
That's
tough
fine.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's yeah. I don't know, man. There's I mean there's some room for optimism in some of that stuff because, you know, like I mean Skylines 2, just judging by, you know, the YouTube community, is a failure. So,
Right.
you know,
And
so
you learn more from your failures.
you do learn more from your failures, or you get your ass shut down. So, you know, and your little you know
All right.
your little Black Panther party gets broken up.
Listen,
Yeah.
okay. Now,
So-
all right. The question for the you got a great point, but the question of why you failed has a lot to do with it. So
does.
if what I can guarantee you, I can guarantee you that there were people at BioWare when they were making Dragon Age Transgender that there were some dudes that there were some people in the office that I guarantee you at certain points either said some things or kind of like hinted around and said, you know, guys, like, look, I get where you're coming from,
Yeah.
but do you think the players might push back against that?
Yeah.
I guarantee you some dudes were like this, and then they were either said, like, it's not their problem, or they said, okay, so you can quit, right?
Or I give them a third option right there. They say, well, we're going to do it on purpose so that we're going to sell more units. So,
They think it's going to sell more units,
Yeah.
or some asshole is like, we're going to own the chuds with this, okay? I get it.
yeah.
I get it. Some people, there's a lot of spite baked into that kind of decision making where you're saying, if you know people will blow back against it and you say,
Yeah,
well, I want to press it harder, that's
Yeah.
spite, right?
Well, it is, you know. I don't know. I've just seen a couple arguments where that's actually been used as a legit marketing tactic. So,
Sure.
Yeah, and that's just shady as fuck. So,
Well,
but whatever.
The thing is, you have to get the people that are on board with that. Will they buy more copies
Yeah,
than
exactly.
the people you were
Yeah.
turn off? And it turns out that
No, not even close.
it turns out when you think that the population of, I don't want to say Twitter, I'm going to say Blue Sky now because that's your audience now.
Yeah.
When you take a look at that audience and say, well, first and foremost, nobody here actually buys games. They complain about games,
all complain
but they
about
don't
it. They
buy
don't buy
them,
'em.
right?
Yeah.
So they need to buy 19 copies a piece for everyone that you turn off. Are you
Correct.
willing to do that? So if you make the mistake because people are like, dude, I don't think you want to do this, you say, no, I'm going to triple down on this.
Yeah.
That gets you shut down. If you go into a project like Civ 2 or something like this, and God, what was the one? Was it Civ 5 that looked it looked like it was trying to address specific weaknesses within 4, where it's like, okay, so the unit stacking is a problem here, and it caused these problems because
Yeah,
of
that
this.
was Civ 5.
And they were like, look, so these are the complaints from this, and we get it. So
Yeah.
we're gonna do
Civ
this.
4, you had the Doom stacks you could roll around with.
Yeah, and so Civ 5 was like, well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna there was a real tactical problem with that, so we're gonna go to the hex map,
And
right?
they went back to Area of Control, which was all the way back Civ 1. Yeah.
and
People hated it.
well, that was the thing. Was
Yeah.
if you make the mistake from that, where you say like, hey, we took the complaints from the last one,
Mm-hmm.
right, and we tried to do this, then you can make a mistake, and people say like, you know what, I can tell you tried.
Yeah.
Right? I can absolutely tell you tried. You failed. You're going to learn more from this.
Yeah.
If the whole thing, even when the whole thing, fails, and you said like, well, they're shuttering our studio because there are Nazis everywhere.
Right, yeah. Yeah, because, the entire, all of Reddit is but Nazis. Well, that might actually be true.
Have you been following?
No, I'm not on Twitter, man. I'm not on Reddit,
boy.
man. I've been having too much fun watching Kanye melt down the last 2 days on Twitter. So.
I responded to Kanye. He didn't get back.
Really? About what? So
I told Kanye, I said, I get it. I said, like, I understand, man. But you need to intersperse some lowercase letters into your writings as well. He did not respond.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to respond to you.
No, because he has been writing in all caps.
Not all of them, man. I mean, he'll go like 4 hours on a caps rant, and then you get a normal one, and then he'll just go right up again, man. I don't know what that dude is. He's on like a 3-day fucking bender or something right now. So
his argument of trying to prove certain hypocrisies by saying, I'm going to attack these groups to make a point. Like, there's a piece of like performance art that I get.
Yeah, this is beyond my ability to grasp performance.
This is a form of like interpretive dance that is beyond all of my training, man. There is
some kind of rain dance.
There is some shit where like I've seen like Marina showed me that. She's like, I want you to watch this. I'm like, what is this? Like, this is Russian dancing. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, go on. It's like, the whole purpose is that you never see their feet move.
Okay.
It looks like the people are floating.
Okay.
If you haven't seen this, you should see it.
Okay.
But if you look at it in abstract, you're like, this is dumb. Because you say, like, so the whole purpose of this is to make it, you have like these dresses, and the movements that you take are to
I think I've seen that.
When you look at it,
yeah,
and you say, wait a second, you're dancing to make it look like you're not dancing. Fuck you. But on the other side, you flip around and say, like, this is hard.
Yeah, it's really hard.
This is really hard.
Yeah.
But then there's a component to this where you look at, like, Kanye, I'm like, so you are doing a dance. I do not know the artistic angle you're taking with this yet.
And none of this looks hard.
So either you're 10 times smarter than I am, or you're way dumber.
I'm kind of going with the fish sticks argument on this one, man. So I don't know what got me on that. Someone else pointed it out in my feed the other day, and I was like, all right, let me go check this out. And dude, I laughed for like hours. So just
so crazy.
It is. I mean, and I've never seen like, I don't follow that many celebrities. I follow mostly journalists and war guys and stuff like that. And so I was kind of like, what the fuck is this? Is this normal? So, and then you go into the comments there and you actually see like some people that are, pretty high up. It's like, whoa, man, are you okay? Kind of thing. So, and it's like, oh my gosh, dude. So this is going on and on and on. And I got kicked to it because someone else, like, I think they tweeted Elon and he laughed about it. It was like, I think that Kanye West, what was the joke? It was like, I think Kanye West's account has been hacked by Kanye West. And I think Elon replied, he's like, yeah, maybe. Or something like that. But it was funny. He's probably still doing it right now.
There's one component to this that, again, I get what he's saying. He has been saying this for a while, and look, it doesn't mean there's a conspiracy. It doesn't mean there's anything else like that. He has said, like, there's only one untouchable group on here. It's like, if you make fun of Jews, you get banned.
Yeah.
You can pick on anybody else. So if there's one group that, and this is his theory, is where he says, if this is the one group you cannot criticize without getting in trouble, then there is this sort of like soft or underhanded power that goes through everything. And I'm like,
yeah,
bro, I'm like, Kanye, like, you're not saying that directly. You're doing this.
Yeah, I know, man. It's just like you're actually doing that thing,
Right.
you know. And then you turn around and you go on like a day and a half rant about how, like, you know, P Diddy's your homie now, you know, and stuff. And it's like, dude, you know, I mean, I'm sure your lawyer's online too, buddy. You know, so,
Imagine representing that, man. Imagine. I
can't
mean,
imagine that.
granted, you would take the job because it's gonna pay,
Yeah.
but at the same, he's not gonna listen to anything I tell you.
No, he's not. He's just gonna do his own thing, man. So, anyway, we'll see where that one goes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
maybe he'll share a cell someday. Who knows?
I don't think Kanye's done anything that. When it comes down to it, I think Kanye is just a dweeb. I think. No, I mean it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think
yeah.
in his heart, I think that there's just like a. There's just a little computer nerd that was given. I mean, yeah, just like that stumbled across. People are like, your music is
Yeah.
genius. It's
Yeah.
like, you think so?
You think so?
Like,
mean,
I think so.
Yeah.
But I'm just Kanye. It's like, you're not just
No,
Kanye.
no, you're not.
Kanye West.
You're Kanye West.
And then eventually that weirdness got to his head. And bro, I was almost laughing about it because when we almost hit episode 300, there were rumors circulating that John McAfee was alive.
I did see that. Yeah.
And it almost hit episode 300. I'm like, this can't be real.
No, it can't be real. And then it wasn't. So
Because if McAfee had faked his own death and reappeared at episode 300,
oh my God,
I
yeah.
would say, like, I think we're done.
I think we're done now. Yeah.
Because the world has completely gone crazy.
yeah, we go back to playing Carcassonne.
All right.
Anyway, I'm Pat.
Jeffrey,
Hitting the button.
you saw that shit too.
Oh, yeah, I did.
That's
Yeah.
one.